It's the Year of Shame Challenge.
Hello and welcome to the Year of Shame podcast. My name is Toby. Joining me today for the February episode is Rich number one. Say hello, Rich number one.
Hello, Rich number one.
Rich number two.
Hello.
Kev.
Hello.
And we have some special guests with us this month because it's my birthday. Say hello to Steve.
Hello.
And Matthew.
Hello.
Beautiful.
I don't know why I waved just then. It doesn't translate well to audio, does it?
It's beautiful.
Sorry,
I think
crack on.
I think adding some video context every now and again doesn't hurt. It's great to see your wonderful faces smiling back at me. We've obviously got one thing to discuss prior to getting cracking, and that is that Rich number one climbed a mountain this month. So how much money did you raise for Scope, Rich?
For Scope, go fuck yourself. We were raising money for the air ambulance, exactly. So that was good, man. It was different. It was a digital detox, and it was lots of mystery meat soups. So I climbed a mountain called Tubuckle in Morocco. Beautiful people, North Africa, absolutely lovely. But Marrakesh, a little bit crazy. But yeah, thank you for asking. Enjoyed myself.
Mystery Meats, was it like that film about the plane crash in the Andes where they were allowed to eat the dead people?
That was a strong topic of conversation, I have to admit. In fact, there were some people eyeing up each other's butts. So it was 16 men, and there was some discussions about which bit.
Was that for eating, or was that just because they were lonely?
Mate, just you know how it is. 16 men sleeping next to each other, and it's cold. You want to cuddle? It's like old scout camp, isn't it? That you used to tell me about.
Yeah,
each other's warm, supple bodies for warmth, and some goat soup.
Bumpers for goalposts.
Exactly. Yes.
Exactly.
So, yeah, it was fantastic. Thank you very much.
Beautiful. All right, fantastic. We'll get cracking. It's you, Rich, number one, that we're going to first, because you are going to run us through check-ins and pile progress.
All right. Well, hello, everyone, and thanks, Matt and Steve, for joining us. Obviously, you guys can interject and whatever, but I'm just going to... Perhaps I'll just go around the room first and start off to see how everyone's getting on with this 60 days in. Are we 60 days in yet? It feels a lot longer.
February's not 30 days long.
No, 29 days long, so nearly it is. So, Toby, how are you getting on with that pile of shame?
Yeah, all right, mate. My piles are comfy. Nothing too crazy. I am now, 3 games completed so far, which is a huge increase on my Season 7 total, which I think was 3 games in total for the year.
Really?
I didn't do
more
much.
than that.
No, because me and Rich spent the whole season talking about RDR2.
I see. I've got a complete brain fog from Season 7. I don't remember much of it. I think that's the old age kicking in.
Of course. I went back and listened to it all before we started this to try and get in the podcast mindset and in the zone. And it was just me and Rich talking a lot of bollocks about things that we'd found in RDR2 for most of it.
Yeah, and you still haven't completed it.
Still haven't completed it. No, we both gave up on it.
Yep.
So you completed less games in that year than you would have in any other normal year?
Yes. But I feel like it's worth pointing out that both of us would probably quite rightly say that the reason we didn't complete RDR2 is the very reason you need a Year of Shame challenge, because we got onto so many other hype trains and then got taken away from that by the new shiny, instead of actually persevering with something that we were really excited about to begin with. In that respect, it's sort of a really good way of reaffirming why we need the challenge in the first place. And
All
why
right, so
other people should be doing it.
All right, so you're already up to the total of season 7 with 3 games. What are those 3 games?
Yeah, so I did Spider-Man Miles Morales first of all, as a cheeky little one. Then I've done the duo of Limbo and Inside, back to back, which was actually phenomenal. Obviously, we discussed in our group chat, and you guys gave me enough shit for it. But I sacked Doom off because I just am fed up of that game. I got to the point where I couldn't turn it on and continue playing that anymore.
Right, which is usually happens, which is why we've got a 20-minute classification where people do, but you've got almost 20 minutes from the end. I mean, it's an absolute insult to the Doom creators. That
come on.
Yeah, well, in the immortal words of Homer J. Simpson, they can suck my dick.
Sorry, which Doom is it? Is this the 2016 Doom?
Eternal. Yes, mate, it is. Yeah.
Oh, Doom Eternal.
No, it's not Eternal. No, it's not Eternal.
It's first Doom.
2016.
Yeah.
Oh,
okay. That's actually quite good. I enjoyed it.
I got a mission and a half from the end, and I just couldn't do it anymore. I just
should have gone through with that.
I tried. I really tried. It got to the point that I was not playing games because I didn't want to play that one.
And
I knew that if I turned
don't do that. No, absolutely.
Exactly.
Like I think you are objectively wrong about the quality of the game, but absolutely not playing games because you're not enjoying it is
exactly. That was precisely my thought process and exactly where I got to.
It's a typical Tudge drop, basically. Oh. He wanted to just go. He just wanted to give up, so he's made a brilliant case for not pushing on through.
I didn't want to give up.
I tried
really hard.
Missions, 1.5
I tried
missions
really hard. I got to the point where I was just like, I don't want to do shotgun finesse kill anymore. Like I was done with that process. Like it was not interesting and enjoyable. I get
like the second one then. In the second one, they start throwing a flamethrower as well. So it's shotgun, glory kill, flamethrower.
Sure. I mean, look, I get that everybody.
You've got to spice it up. It's like a marriage, isn't it? When you got to sort of do missionary.
Sometimes you've got to get the flamethrower out.
Reverse Cowboy. Hey!
Cowboy? What the fuck are you doing? Reverse Cowboy? Yeah.
Reverse Cowboy.
Reverse
Cowboy. It should be Cowboy.
Reverse Cowboy.
Shit.
I mean, Purvis, which one? When you're on a podcast with me and you're the one made out to be the deviant, yeah?
I think that I really need to ask more questions about this trip up a mountain with 16 other men. Reverse Cowboy. Jesus Christ.
That is not the name. That is not the name of this podcast. That is not the name. That's not happening. No.
Was it actually Brokeback Mountain you went up?
You know who the person is who types that name in and sends it across, right? You know who that is?
Who's that?
It's me!
I know it's you, exactly. Why, brain, why have you forsaken me?
Because you decided to go flamethrower, reverse Cowboy. That's how your brain did that. I can't help you here.
Oh, fucking hell. Please can we start again? Please wind it back.
No, I'm going to wind it back just a smidge and say, look, I wasn't into Doom. I know lots of people are, and more power to you, man. This is where people start shouting at me when I say things like, I've never played through Halo. Yeah, see the despair already.
I've never played a Halo game in my life.
But look, through quitting Doom because I wasn't enjoying it, I got to the point where I played 2 games that I found really artistically interesting, that I found really engaging, that I found had a story that even after the credits rolled had me Googling and searching and wanting more, which I think is the hallmark of a really good game. And so I'm not disappointed that I made that decision. And as a result, I've boxed off 2 more games instead of 1 that I was slogging through. I don't think that's a bad thing. He's gone.
You broke him.
I broke him. What happened was Reverse Cowboy he's gone and Reverse Cowboyed himself.
No, I fucked up. Sorry, I'm back. I was trying to unmute myself when I turned the camera off. But I was I'm so devastated about the Reverse Cowboy thing that
I'm sure I would be just as devastated, sir. You better believe
Here
it.
lies Rich One.
So yeah, here lies Rich One doing Reverse Cowboy. That's my pile progress. I'm now working through Spider-Man 2 and really enjoying it. I've always really enjoyed the Spider-Man games. 100%ed the first one, 100%ed Miles Morales, and I intend to do the same with this one. I like all the little bits. Obviously, as a big-time comic nerd, there's lots of extra little nods in there for people like me, which is really nice. And it's a really playable game. And it's one that I play with my kid. Like, my kid loves just having the controller for a bit and swinging around the city. Like, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And it's a nice way to get her involved. She and I also powered up Goat Simulator 3, which has been interesting, to say the least. Just, I love it. I love the level of shithousery that comes with a Goat Simulator game.
What did they not say in the first two Goat Simulators that they needed a third one?
No, you'd be surprised. But yeah, I think it certainly adds to it. There's a real Skyrim piss take vibe coming through from the opening, where you awake on a cart with a load of other goats being taken to a farm.
Oh, nice.
Just like Skyrim. And then there's lots of unlocking of things similar to the shouts in Skyrim. It's all very very tongue in cheek, but there's lots of funny little bits in there. And in terms I've never heard my kid laugh as much, which is absolutely phenomenal. Like, in terms of engaging the next generation of gamers, it's been one of those things that's been really nice to do. And there's no swearing because it's a goat, so I'm cool with that. So yeah, that's me.
Is it a completable game? I played Goat Simulator, but no Goat Simulator.
So
you could actually complete it. Though
you can complete it in the same way that, like, there are lots of games that you can complete and then still keep playing afterwards. But there are missions and things to do and things you have to unlock to progress and things like that. So yes, there is a completable element.
Okay, that's cool. All right, let's move on to Kev then. Kev, how's your pile, dude?
Yeah, it's about the same as it was, in all honesty. So I was playing Midnight Suns. I finished the DLC stuff, and I have played through the game before. So I was only really playing through it for the DLC that I hadn't done before. So I got that far, and then I sort of got distracted. In that a new big patch came out for Baldur's Gate 3, and I started a new playthrough of Baldur's Gate 3.
Okay.
Which is a big game, and it is a mistake, and it has essentially halted all progress on actually reducing the pile.
So you completed on that? Go on then, Toby, sorry.
Can I just jump in and ask if Kev's seen the videos on Rich Number One's Twitch channel of Baldur's Gate 3?
I have not, no.
If not, I really think you should wander over there and take a look. It's eye-opening, to say the least.
It is
Reverse Cowboy, a new meaning.
But
okay.
Yeah, but allow me to point the finger quite specifically at Fuzzy, who is an absolute degenerate pervert, and insisted that every camp was basically some sex party. And
I mean that's how you play Baldur's Gate 3. Let's be honest. It's that's how it's done.
I think, for the sake of any wives listening, you actually play it for the storyline.
Oh, of course. I mean, I have one of those to worry about, but for you guys, sure.
The game mechanics, as if the wives listen to this. So, Kev, have you've completed Baldur's Gate?
I did. I completed Baldur's Gate 3 yesterday? Last year when it came out. I played pretty much nothing else after it came out. And then I started a couple of new playthroughs after completing it, as kind of, I think, is probably normal for people who love those games. But both times, every time, bounced off it in sort of like, no, I've done this. I remember it. I don't need to worry about it again. But it's now been long enough that and enough patches and things have happened since then, that I was sort of intrigued, and it has definitely, I've fallen back in love with it, and I'm really enjoying it. And finding bits of storyline and stuff that I didn't even touch on my other playthrough. So, like, the game's massive. It absolutely is. There's definitely still stuff that I didn't do last time that I'm going to do this time. So I'm very much enjoying it. It has stopped me making progress on my pile or clearing anything out. But I'm still enjoying gaming. So, like, I think that's a win, maybe?
Okay. So definitely. Just give us
there's the human element, isn't there, Kev?
Sorry, say that again?
There's the human element you got to consider in all of this.
Yeah.
Are you doing a specific type of run, like an honor run, or a...
So the first time I played through, I very much played through just doing whatever came up, making the decisions, rolling with the punches. If I failed a roll or whatever, then I failed the roll and I carried on. This time, I'm sort of exploring a bit more, taking my time, trying to find the stuff that I didn't do last time. And there's a couple of bits and pieces that I know are coming up where things went wrong for my previous playthrough, and I want to succeed at them this time and see what the alternate storyline is, essentially, but not going down the sort of the evil playthrough and the murder hobo sort of side of things. So that's for another. Murder hobo is a role-playing term for a character that literally all he does is kill people. Literally, just doesn't matter who you come across. Any opportunity for violence, you take it, kind of thing.
Right, almost the opposite of a reverse cowboy.
Yeah. Well, right. Well, Fuzzy. Now I know what to call Fuzzy, because Fuzzy's is a murder hobo. That's exactly right. Go watch my watch my stream, kids. Not kids. I got sensitive.
Not for kids.
No way.
Sensitive content. Exactly. It's basically an OnlyFans for people with a pawn shop for gnomes with big knobs.
Gnomes with big knobs killing vampires.
Yeah, basically. If that's your thing, then hit that subscribe button.
Like, subscribe, and follow.
Like, subscribe, smash the bell, Matty. Smash the bell.
Smash that fucking bell.
Yes. All right, Rich 2. Or I don't have to say Rich 2. I can say Rich because I am Rich 1. But I like to somehow pull rank on you, mate. Sorry about that. Anyway, nice hat. Explain the hat to those listening. Yeah, and turn your microphone on as well. Go do that, voodoo that you do so well, sir.
Microphone is on.
There he is.
Hello. It's like communicating with Eastern Europe sometimes in the Eurovision. That's what it is. Hello, it's two. What points will you want to give Serbia?
My points total for the reverse cowboy is...
Like, we can drop that now. That joke's over. So old. Go on.
Hello, London.
Hello. Yes.
Right. Okay. So, I think I mentioned it from last time that Dredge is done. I haven't touched the DLC though. I want to with that. Thing with that is it's kind of, if you've got it, then it doesn't sort of say, right, here, off you go, do the DLC. I think it's actually built into it, and right from the off, you're doing the DLC missions, even unbeknown to yourself. I've mostly been playing 2 Point Campus. I'm about halfway through that now. I've got 2 of the DLCs, which came with it when I bought it about 6-8 months ago. When I say 50% through, that's not 50% through the number of campuses. I think it measures it from the number of stars you've achieved on those campuses, which is a different measure of what's going on with it. It's essentially 2 Point Hospital with a different skin, if I'm perfectly honest.
Ooh, let me ask a question for you, Rich, too.
Yeah.
I remember picking up 2 Point Hospital because it was going to be the spiritual successor of Sim Hospital, Theme Hospital. There you go. And it was all good and everything, but it didn't have the like you say, because it was score based, weren't it? So you finish the scenario and you get 1 of 3 stars. Did it ever unlock to be just a constant play session like it used to be?
They've got in this, you've got a sandbox, and you've got challenge modes which take specific campuses and overlay a scenario onto it. So there's one, Spiffenmore is essentially Hogwarts, and it adds evil sorcerers sending nasty weather down and breaking the campus and doing all these sorts of things on top of it. So you've got those challenge modes, or you've got ghosts to get rid of and that kind of stuff. At one point you have to play cheese ball against other campuses, which is apparently it's not a national sport if it's a county, is it? It's the county-wide sport of 2 Point County cheese ball. So yeah, doing those. I have briefly started Cyberpunk 2077, but I don't know which character class to take through, so I'm going to go back to that and probably. I started it with a nomad, but I'm not sure whether or not I'm going to do with that. Carry on through with that.
Street one first.
Okay.
You get right. You've played through it loads of times, haven't you, Toby?
I've done all 3, yeah.
Yeah. So you know your skills and your progression things and what have you. Are they universal to each 3 of the classes?
Skills
or
and stuff,
do you get
yes.
different
Each class has different conversational perks. So different things will happen in different ways based on which background you choose.
I'll give that. I'm only a very short way into it, so I'll take your advice and try that first on that Street Kid or whatever it comes out as. I think it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, the other ones, Evil Genius and Cthulhu. I haven't started yet. That is where I am up to at this point.
That is where I am at.
That is
as far as I has got at this point in my.
What's your target for the year then? You're going to better the season 7 with like 4 games completed, or?
Which was about 2, I think. Me and Toby really did fuck that off, to be honest.
Yeah, we just did the podcast and not a lot else.
Yeah, well, I'm already sort of halfway towards last year's total, having completed Dredge, to be honest.
Yeah.
2 Point Campus will be at the same level, so anything above and beyond 2, I think we're on a PB.
Absolutely.
So, Rich, number 1, as you've got no one to ask you, how's yours been? Obviously, you've been climbing a mountain.
Thank you very much for this. Yeah, no, it has been a little slow this month. Had I completed Last of Us 2 the last time we podcast? Can't remember.
Oh, you were fannying about with it, and that was your excuse for not carrying on with Mass Effect 2?
Well, I had to complete it. I just absolutely loved my time in Last of Us. Why the hell I stopped playing, I don't know. It's massive. There's so much content on it. It's highly emotional. I just love that game to bits. It's very good.
Interestingly, have you seen that the remake's been shelved?
Has it? What do you mean?
Yeah, I don't know if you saw. While you were up a mountain, there was a load of Sony layoffs. 900 jobs lost, studios closed down, and one of the games on the list that wasn't going forward was The Last of Us 2 remake.
I thought that was released. I thought that was.
I think so.
Oh, right. Okay. Well,
whatever they were doing there.
The enhanced.
Yeah, no, they did it. They were doing a proper remake, similar to FF7 and stuff.
I don't think
my only hope of it coming to PC, to be honest. So
I guess it's a shame for those new to it. I could never see me sucking it up and doing that all again. I mean, it's it's the storyline. It's not like Baldur's Gate, is it, where it varies and anything like that. It can be very drudgy in terms of just getting through. But listen, I love my time in there. Then I did that Mass Effect hour. The only reason I pulled back from it was too much for me to go from The Last of Us, that deep, involved storyline, to yet another emotional storyline. And nothing against Mass Effect 2 in terms of that, but I was like, Last of Us such a high bar of acting and visuals and everything like that I just felt I needed to give that some space with Mass Effect. Since it's an older game and it's been updated, the only things that I would say about the connection with those Mass Effect characters, they all look like they've had surgery. Like the upgrade makes them all look like they're the old characters who've had Botox. They've got a weird way of talking, weird lips. I know I'm hurting your soul here, Toby.
It's BioWare, mate. It's BioWare.
I don't think that's the remake. The faces and stuff were nothing. It was the thing that really annoyed me about Andromeda. Everyone was bitching about the faces. Like, did you play the original trilogy?
Yeah,
don't not good. Like no, the facial animations on that are not. Don't hang your love of the game on how good the graphics are.
It is like spending time in 2 Point plastic surgery hospital. But listen, I could see some real depth in it. I just need to give some space. So I jumped into something completely different, and I felt guilty about slagging off Oddworld. Because when you told me your mate had actually made it, so I thought I'll give this a go. And to be fair, and props to you guys, it's an absolutely beautiful game. It's fantastic. Is it the best game? I mean, they've done everything they possibly can with it. So I'm just going to get through that. I don't know if you've played it. It's a typical platformer. It's got some things to do, and the story's great. So I'm going to tick that off first, and then give Mass Effect its dues. I can feel me saying that a lot this year, and then we'll get around to it. But yeah, so that's really is, and stupidly dragged myself back into that King game FIFA. I should not have done it.
I did as well, because the new fantasy Ultimate Team stuff came out, and I went, "Ooh, I should have a look at this."
So that fucked up a load of time, which I feel dirty and disgusting about. But there you go. So that's where I'm at. That's where I'm up to. So get Oddworld done this month. So let's just check in with our boys who are joining us.
What have you been playing that we can't buy?
What's real life like? What's it like out there?
Final Fantasy 7. Yeah.
No way, Steve. You can't be playing Final Fantasy 7.
I am. Yeah. No, this is.
I assume it's the new one.
It's the new one, but I've only just loaded up onto PS5 because I've gone back to play the original Final Fantasy 7. So I'm going through that first. But I don't really have much time for gaming at the moment. I do very little gaming. I think that's only the second game I've bought in the last 6 months. So I just seem to have dropped off of it. The only other one was Tiny Tina's Wonderland, which
is what?
Yeah, Tiny Tina's Wonderland.
Right.
Maybe.
It's a Borderlands game.
Yep.
But do you know? Did you play Tiny Tina's Attack on Dragon Keep?
No.
Basically,
I have played all the Borderlands, so
basically, it's a Borderlands game, but it's set in a Dungeons and Dragons style environment. It's basically Tiny Tina is the dungeon master for a game of bunkers and badasses, and you're all sat around this table. You've got 2 other characters, and she's kind of narrating all the missions and everything. And it's basically just a Borderlands game that she's narrating. But you've got things like magic and enchanted swords and unicorns, and it's just really good. It's quite funny.
Really good.
It is. It's basically
a PC game.
No, it's on PlayStation. I think you can get it on PC. I presume you can. But yeah, it was on offer on PlayStation recently. So yeah, something like 15 quid. So yeah, and you've got this, like, instead of having a one continuous world like you do in Borderlands, there's dungeons and certain narrative areas. So like the bigger maps are kind of a specific narrative area, but as soon as you leave that, you go into an overworld, which is basically the tabletop that she's running it on. So you've got things like cans of juice in the way or magical cheesy Wotsits that are just fallen on the table, and you're navigating around this to do other side quests. And yeah, really enjoying it, to be honest. It's got guns in, still got explosions and all that kind of stuff because it's Tiny Tina.
Okay.
Yeah,
I remember Borderlands being the first. What do they call it? A looter shooter. The first time I saw an FPS with numbers flying off dudes when I hit them, and like a yellow number when it was a career, I was like, "This is exactly what I need in my life right now."
It's exactly like that. Loads of numbers going off everywhere, except you've got dragons in it as well now, and goblins, and all kinds of stuff going on. I love it.
Oh. I wish I'd asked. Now I really want to buy that game.
Get it. It was released 2022.
I can't get it, Steve. That's the whole point.
Just get it at the end of the year. Get it at the end.
Oh, shit. Telling us, coming on the Year of Shame podcast and telling us to buy games seems a little.
I have just got Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and I've just loaded it into the PS5. It's what was it? 162 gig it needed storage space.
Is this Final Fantasy VII thing? Is it the one game but being spread across three new games?
It's across 3 episodes. So,
and I've heard that it doesn't transfer your save from the previous one or anything like that. It's I
don't think so. It's like starting again.
Yeah.
So the remake was basically, if any of you play Final Fantasy VII, was the entirety of Midgar. Mm-hmm. So leading up to, I think it was the first couple of hours on the original game. And at the very end of it, you've left Midgar. It held to the story pretty much identical. All the key beats were there. There were extra things, they improved on stuff, and the combat was really good on it. And this disc starts off when you're just going into the open world, and it's meant to take you up to the end of the story on disc 1 of the original PS1 release. So there's still one more episode to go, and that'll probably be 2027, I reckon. Yeah. I've still got Final Fantasy 16 and Crisis Core and Strangers in Paradise to finish, but it's still all about the Final Fantasy around here.
Fantastic. Matty, baby, what's keeping you entertained in the world?
All right, so first thing, because you can't buy anything, I'll treat myself. And I got a new gadget turned up today, and I've been in the market for one of these for a long time. So I had a big old tower that I built myself, a PC tower, like 7 years ago, and the fan would spin up if I was trying to play anything, and it turned into just a large, bulky thing that was used for web browsing. So I thought, well, what else do I get? And I was looking at laptops, and I thought, well, the trouble with the laptop is I'm paying for the screen, I'm paying for the mobility, and I don't need mobility. I need something to plug into this damn screen of mine. So I've been keeping an eye on those mini PCs, and I finally dropped on one of these B-Links, and I set it up today. I think I got it for 280 quid, and it's what is it? I'll tell you exactly what it is. So it's been a long time since I bought a PC. So listen up, people. AMD Ryzen 5, 6 cores, 12 threads. I think it's running at 2.3 gigahertz, 16 gig RAM. It's a half a terabyte solid state, and just like built in everything, like Windows 11 Pro built in, like paid for, like a license for that as well. And I plugged it in, and for this little thing that weighs a kilogram, it's the best purchase essentially I've made in a long time. I am so stoked with this. So stoked.
Well, let's get into our resident master race, representative of the master race, Kev. That was mainly nonsense to me. What did
sounds like a pretty good setup, yeah. For a little mini PC like that, always good.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to do anything gaming wise. It probably could. It's got some integrated something.
Yeah, the integrated stuff. It doesn't really do a lot these days, to be honest. But yeah.
Yeah, but with the rising desk as well, and from a cable management point of view, like just a big refresh always good. It's always good to get. Like, I know you can like delete your cookies, but there's nothing better than taking a magnet to a hard drive and go, "No one's having that. No one's having it."
Burn the evidence.
Well, when I was in the TA, we were out in Kosovo. We were basically stripping down the camp before all the Brits left. One of our jobs was to dismantle all the PCs because they weren't going to ship them back. It was too much to take back. So it wasn't magnets to it. It was basically sledgehammers to all the PCs. That was a fun day, I can tell you. Just sledgehammering everything and throwing it in an incinerator. But what really got me is they wouldn't allow us to take back any of the PC screens or the big TVs just in case there was any shadowed information on the LCD screen.
Wow.
We had to smash all of that up as well, which was good fun. Really enjoyed that. That was a good day.
That sounds awesome.
And
what people should do to PCs anyway, but there you go.
Well, other than my new purchase, the thing that keep me going, I'm looking forward to saying this because this is frustrating because I'm not. This is the first time I've had a chance to speak to people about video games in a long old time, and I think I've spent 80 hours now on. I don't know. It's got to be probably one of the best games I've played in 15, 20 years, maybe. Just it's at a pinnacle. It's already been spoken about tonight. Give it up, ladies and gentlemen, for Baldur's Gate 3.
Yes.
Still haven't played it.
So I've approached this in a backward way than I would normally because I really enjoyed the original few. I preferred Neverwinter Nights. I don't know why. I preferred playing as a solo character than playing as a party. But I did dabble in the Baldur's Gate series and anything D&D and Rule Set 2 was like what I was brought up on. So anything non-THACO, I always kind of like. THACO, would it be an armor class big? No, silly dickhead over here. So being introduced to, I guess I think it's 5th edition rules, but I'm sure there's been some tweaks to it. Maybe.
It's a tweaked 5th edition. They've taken 5th edition and made it work for their computer game, and I think they've done a lot of good things. Like, not a lot of it, I think, needs to go into the tabletop version, but for the computer game, I think it really works.
And I mean, I guess the concept of advantage and disadvantage just makes sense. Like you can apply it as a DM, like outside on tabletop, you could apply advantage and disadvantage to any situation because, I've got to do something, and it works in the game. My biggest takeaway from the difference between what I remember and what this is I remember it being a little bit. I wouldn't say stale, but it was high fantasy, but it was mostly dungeon crawling. I don't remember much epicness about what I remember from D&D that long ago. What 5th edition? What the lore has continued to grow into is something that's so much more compelling. I mean, the opening of the game, I was like, okay, I've got dragons fighting I don't even know what this is. I assume it's a magical thing, and it was just so out of this world, and like just grabbed me from guess what, Matty? Me and you are playing D&D right now. Mm-hmm. So that's good. The reason I came to this in a different way is that we're talking about that PC. That wasn't good enough, and neither is my new one to play this game.
Oh, really?
So I've been aware of it. So I did actually. I think I downloaded it once when it was still in early access on Steam. And I immediately refunded it because it couldn't handle it. I was like, "There's no point me." I'm so glad that feature existed. I wasn't taking a piss. It was a legit use case. Mm-hmm. So when it was released on the Xbox, so I'm rocking now primarily Xbox Series S, like so the lesser of the tech out there, and I dropped 70 of your King's notes. I don't think I've spent £70 on a video game for a long. The last time I saw one at that price was Street Fighter 2 in a video store. So 70 quid. And I remember I was chatting with a good friend Darren Baldock just before I pulled the trigger, and I said, 70 quid, man, when did that start happening? And he reminded me, he was like, well, if you do the equation of like how much time you spend with it versus how much money it is before you know it, your quid's in. And here I am now, 80 hours into it, and me and Darren always used to talk about a good game is the sort of game that you think about when you're not playing it. What's changed over the past 10 years is that people create content about it. So when I'm not playing the game and I've not finished the game yet, I'm already planning my second. Look, Kev's face. As soon as he started talking about it, I thought he's got it. I'm already planning my. I'm watching builds, and I realise that I'm playing on the easy level because balls to it. It's taken me half of the game to work out how to play it.
Yeah.
So I'm already so stoked. Now the only trouble I have is I'm restricted with the controller. Now, Larian Studios, I know they've done it before with their previous RPGs, the non D&D branded ones that did good. Like, they've got pedigree in converting the UI and inputs to a controller. And I was a little bit hesitant. And as much as the entirety of the time, I'm thinking, wish you had a mouse and a keyboard. And every time I watch videos of the people, they're like, mouse and a keyboard. I'm like, look how easily they got their hotkeys set up. I'm radialing it, and it's still an incredibly well executed solution. It's really, really well executed. You can do some very smart things, but it does mean that there is a barrier to entry, and the barrier to entry is not just the sort of like that technical frontage, but it's like the world itself. Everything it's overbearing. You walk somewhere, and I just can't. It's called Baldur's Gate, and I went to that place. The third act is in the city, and I was just like, it was a little bit daunting. I just didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to do.
Yeah, it's good, and I think you're right on the radial stuff. I think that's the best they could possibly do. But there's so much more in the game that it doesn't necessarily be about acing every single combat. Right? There's still enough time to think in it, but. Yeah, what a game!
I know it is something else. So from a patch point of view, I'm quite late into it. I guess I did really appreciate seeing that how long it was in early access, and early access used to be a bit of a bad word, but they listened to feedback. I've seen early UI skins. I've seen how they listened and put something together that's tremendous, and winning all them awards, 100%. Go for it. I think it's an incredibly executed piece of work, and I'm so glad it got all. Did it sell well? Kel, you probably know that. Google it.
Yeah, so it did. So it sold very well within sort of the D&D and the sort of nerd community in early access, and there was sort of some speculation that it was going to do, well for itself. And then when it released, and it was just like it hit mainstream media, it was that level of popular, and just I think it completely blew their expectations of what they were actually going to sell when it released. I think they largely thought they'd got most of their sales out of early access and everything. But yeah, when it launched, the numbers were phenomenal and well deserved. And early access, like you said about it being a bit of a dirty word, I really do think it does depend on how it's done. There's companies that do it as we want you to give us money while we develop this because we're not confident about the end product, and there's companies that we want you to help us make this game, we want your feedback, and we want to make it the best game that we can, and I think that really is the massive difference. And I think a lot of that comes down to the fact that it's an independent publishing, like they're not reliant on some kind of like shareholders and all that. They're making the game because they love it rather than because they're trying to make as much money as they possibly can. Like, don't get me wrong, they still need to make money. They still need to be a profitable company because that's how the world works. But they're not answering to some overlords who literally couldn't care less about the game and only want to see what the numbers are.
Take note, EA.
Yes. Well, and so many of them at the moment. It's
I think any company that's prepared to put back release dates for the sake of actually making sure that something works, rather than releasing essentially what is a beta game and getting people to test it, and then patches, and then subsequent DLC correct things. I mean, I'm looking at you, CD Projekt Red. But also you've got things like, do you remember the Duke Nukem that took God knows how long to come out?
Duke Nukem Forever.
Yeah, those sorts of things. You've got to get a balance between when it's going to be released and when you're going to and what you're going to actually do in terms of ironing out the problems that you've got in terms of collision detection, graphics, players, and those that listen to the feedback, I think inevitably do better with those sorts of games in the long run, because it doesn't just give you a good game, it gives you a good reputation going forward. Just think about The Witcher and all that. Everybody was going, well, how can CD Projekt Red make a fuck up of Cyberpunk 2077? And then it came out and it was an absolute skip fire of a game on some platforms. But then they did the right thing. They took it back. They listened to people, and then they spent some time making it better. If they'd done that in the first instance, we'd have had a much better game. And we'd have been having a different conversation about the reputation of CD Projekt Red.
Yeah, all fair.
Yeah,
all fair.
whereas before, I guess I'll hang my hat.
Oh.
I was going to say, so I'll hang my hat on Baldur's Gate 3 finally by just saying that I was also just so impressed at how well it ran on an Xbox Series S. Either it's very well optimized or that Series S actually has got some beef in it. I don't really use it for anything else.
I think the Series S is a hugely underrated console. When we moved to next gen, I didn't go for the Series X, I went for the Series S, and I play it non-stop. I have my PS5 too, but those two things are pretty much equal. I mean, if there's a release that I know is going to look phenomenal, I will get it on the PS5. But if it's on both and there's no real difference in what I think the looks are going to perform as, I may well go for the Xbox. And we've got Game Pass knocking around as well. It's a beautiful thing.
All right, let's wrap it up then by wishing Toby a happy birthday and asking, what did you do for your birthday, sir?
Oh, that's going to be really depressing because I didn't do anything.
Is this your birthday party?
This is literally my birthday do. This is literally, we're between maternity budget and everything else. The cash just wasn't there for a blowout, and so I was just going to treat myself to a takeaway at home, and then the takeaway that I wanted has closed down. So it was literally just like a sad day.
Oh my God, it's tragic. I wish I had an mask.
Rounded off with playing Spider-Man 2 in my pants till 2 a.m. That's literally all I got. That's what I got. This is my birthday night out.
Low expectations and low delivery. Fantastic, mate. Well,
yeah.
Anyway, happy birthday from all of us, and I'm sure the community wish you happy birthday as well. Some of them.
Thanks, bud. I appreciate it. I appreciate you.
I hate you too. Right. Okay, let's move this bad boy along then.
So let's jump over to Rich number 2 to talk about this latest releases that we've got this month.
The February stuff that we've missed.
February, did you squeeze any March in there? Any early March? Because we're obviously, by the time this episode comes out, it's going to be first week of March.
Now, this is more like the shit that we've missed over the last over the last 4 weeks. I mean, if you've been a fan of the proverbial remake over the last 4 weeks, you will have had an absolute fucking party about this. I went through and had a look at all these things here. I've picked out about 7 or 8 games from the February releases, and we've got Persona 3 Reloaded, Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons remake, Star Wars Dark Forces remaster. That's just through Final Fantasy, which Steve's already mentioned. I mean, I know it's not quite that because they've done quite a bit of that there. That's 4 games, and I'll tell you what, somebody who's the old likes their manga or their Japanese game remakes, there's absolute smorgasbord of games to pick from in all this lot. We've had something which I have absolutely no idea what it really is like, but can you imagine what a poker-based roguelike deck builder would be?
No. Arduous.
I don't want to.
Yeah. Apparently, that's the thing. Baltro is a poker game, which is a roguelike deck builder where you take on various opponents, gaining chips and winning through to get to the big blind boss, which sounds like something out of another Japanese thing. There's the proverbial elephant in the room, which is Helldivers 2. That is everybody's talking about. Lots of the community are on that. Totally different from the original, because I don't know if you guys know, but the original was a top-down RTS.
Original was quite good fun. I played that a lot on year 5. It was one of those games that was just really entertaining to play, and you could get through a really tough mission and then just cocking it up at the very last moment by standing exactly where your dropship's coming in, and it would squish you, and then that's it, game over. You'd just be in the wrong place at the wrong time. It was completely savage.
Yeah, I did
but
that
a
so
really
many times.
enjoyable game. I loved it.
Let's have a look what else we got. I agree with you, Steve. I enjoyed that first one because I like an RTS and that sort of thing. Terminator Dark Fate Defiance. That's another RTS game. Not that I've had any idea what that is. Totally off my radar. Got a couple of other big ones, neither of which got a particularly good reception from what I can gather having a look around the interwebs. Skull and Bones, which is the old pirate stuff from before. You think, given that Ubisoft made us Black Flag, that might be a bit better, but it's languishing around 60% on Metacritic, and not a lot of people particularly going for that one. You essentially collect together a pirate fleet and fight people for riches. I don't know how the gameplay translates, as I've not had a look at that. And
may as well play Sea of Thieves, eh, Rich?
Well, maybe. I love the old Black Flag stuff. That was one of the best entries, I reckon, in the Assassin's Creed. You got to be an assassin and a pirate in one game. I mean, that's a 2-for-1, surely, right there. You get to shoot things with big fuck off cannonballs and stab people in the back / face whenever you want to.
From what I've heard, you're better off sticking with Black Flag. Just go play that if you want. If you want, your Ubisoft pirating treats, because I've heard that it's not a dumpster fire, but it is. It's one of those games where they've overpromised they've overpromised and underdelivered. And it was it not hyped up about 4 or 5 years ago at E3, and they've just taken so long, and it's apparently nobody's enjoying it. It's very lackluster for the amount of time they've spent developing it.
This is the exception that proves the rule about delaying things. This is an absolute shit show.
Yeah.
Give me 2 seconds.
Well, speak. Hey, what? Is he gone?
I'm just going to be 2 seconds. Carry on.
All right. For a shit.
Speaking of absolute shit shows, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League.
Yep. Numbers on that have tanked, haven't they? Daily logins or something.
They've taken all the best bits of the Arkham games, set it in a very similar, in Gotham,
and removed all the best bits of the Arkham games and just left the shit.
Yeah, then immediately tore all that meat off the bones and gave us what is essentially a scaled-back, wanky version of the Batman games. The only thing it's got going for it, I suppose, is the fact you've got 4 of the different DC characters in there.
Is it not it's an online only game as well, isn't it? Or something.
It's designed, I think, primarily with like a co-op sort of approach in mind, rather than the Arkham stuff, which was obviously very single-player focused. I honestly think that's where they fucked it, to be honest.
Yeah, that makes it worse. If that's the case, then.
And apparently, from the actual main storyline's quite short, and the end game's very repetitive. From what I've heard.
Wow. Yeah, well, it doesn't surprise me from the things that I've seen for it, and I mean, I kind of had an eye on that if it was going to be any good, but having seen all those bits and pieces, it's an absolute waste of time.
It's not even a case of them doing a Cyberpunk and patching the hell out of it over the next 6 months.
They just designed a bad game.
I think it fundamentally it's crap. I don't think you're going to get. I don't think you can fix that with some DLCs and that kind of thing. So those tend to add layers and story onto it.
But they're too deep into this when Anthem tried and was just like...
It feels like they made Gotham Knights, but the Suicide Squad version, and like made exactly the same mistakes. You know, I don't get it.
I had to think hard there when you mentioned Anthem. that had completely out my brain. Couldn't even remember what it was, but that was that EA thing, wasn't it?
That was
Yeah.
going to blow Destiny out of the water and
Yeah.
all this sort of thing, and then it turned out to be
Toby's original hype train fantasy.
Yeah.
Is top of his tree of the hype train. So
That's the one that-
there's no
well,
hype train for that.
Oh no, definitely not. Yeah, so that's it. Goes get excited if you like a remake. That's the headline.
So I have a question then as to whether it made it onto anybody else's radars. But Power World has had some huge press coverage over the last month. Did anybody have any thoughts on that? Has anybody seen anything about it?
No.
Not at
No
all.
thoughts or not seen anything?
Both of
Neither.
those,
Pokemon
sir.
mechanics.
Both of those.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Pokemon with
um,
tanks.
yeah, Power World is essentially Pokemon with guns. It's a survival shooter thing with Pokemon esque characters. Has been making quite a lot of again hitting sort of mainstream headlines from what I've been seeing. Because of some of the content in it, like you can capture humans and you can butcher your Pokemon and eat them, and all this kind of stuff. So there's been a lot of chatter about it in my circles, but apparently it hasn't necessarily made it outside of that.
Well, is this where you go round killing people that you see still playing Pokemon Go?
Not quite, no, but whatever floats your boat.
That is a game that I would probably buy.
And it would in your voodoo hat. You'd be one of the main characters to choose.
Yes.
Is level 2 like Carmageddon and just stop oil?
Oh, we need write these down straight away. We'll get this. We'll approach some indie studio to get this made.
Fantastic. Yeah, no, so not see Power World. What happened to the phone party game? I thought that was coming out.
Never
Yeah.
Foam
Foam
Alone.
Stars.
Foam Stars.
I
Never
actually
Foam
haven't
Alone.
seen.
It did come out, but I decided not to put it on my list.
Metacritic has given it a mix of 59, so it obviously hasn't done particularly well.
Yeah,
That's even worse than Skull and Bones and Suicide Squad.
yeah.
What was Foam Stars? I've seen the name
It's
bandied around, but I have no
Splatoon,
idea.
but for PlayStation.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah. So it is literally February, the month of missing out on nothing.
Yeah, pretty
That's
much.
good.
I don't reckon there's anything. Maybe Helldivers too, but no, not that. And unless you're a remake fan, that's what I would say. Fanatic.
Well,
Blech.
I think the Persona 3 remake's actually quite interesting because it's bringing it to Xbox for the first time, and they've revamped a lot of the graphics to it, the UI. So they brought it more in. I think they brought it more up to scale, more in tone with Persona 4 in some ways. But seeing as it was a PS2 exclusive way back when, and most people missed it, it'd be an interesting one to try. So I would have been hyped for that, but I don't play enough. Too much time to do other things, and not enough time to play the games I already have.
Steve. So I had that thing, didn't I, where I hit Persona 5, and it was my only Persona, and I fell in love, and I went into a deep Persona hole. Yeah. And I tried I think it may be a remake of 4 that was on Game Pass, and I played it for about 10 hours maybe, and I think that was that falling into a screen to get to the world?
That was one where it was the murder world at night, so you'd go into...
and I couldn't quite get into it, and I don't know if it was because it was older mechanics maybe, or the story didn't grab me, but I do hear good things about the third one. Like, should I try?
I don't know. I've never played it. I know there was a lot of controversy around it at the time because the way you...
Is it that?
It was the one, where you would the kids would kind of shoot themselves in the head to release the personas, and there was a lot of controversy in America that it was encouraging teenage suicide.
That's dark, man. That's real dark.
I mean, you should play a Persona game, mate. They are dark.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I've got a couple on the pile.
5's definitely the best place to start if you've never played one, I think.
That's on the pile.
The first one is completely different. It was an isometric one way back on PS1. I think 2 was as well. And then 3 and 4 were PS2, with 4 going onto the Vita or the PSP. So, yeah, they're intriguing. And then you've always got this calendar mechanic going on as well, where things progress at set times. So you can't just grind stuff. As soon as you wait a day, this calendar will carry on, and you've got a certain amount of days to do something.
And it turns out that these kids go to school 6 days a week.
Yes, they do in Japan. Yeah, half day on a Saturday. Yep. So yeah, I would recommend Persona 3.
Time for It's Your Letters. Here we go.
It's your letters. It's your letters. It's your letters. It's your letters.
All right, just to wind up, we are going to finish off with the community questions. Bit of a light bag this month, but I'm sure we'll still have a lot to talk about. Kev, what you got for us?
So we've had a few. Brian Riley, I think that is, has given us probably more than everybody else combined. So I think perhaps we'll jump in on those. So, in an effort to see outside of gaming, what genres of music do we like? Apparently, is the question. So we'll start with Toby and go from there.
Jesus Christ! In terms of what genres of music I like,
You're very much into your hard rock gospel, aren't you?
Sure. Yes. Why not? I mean, on that side, yeah, POD kind of fall into that. But literally everything. Like, I just let my Spotify go today, and I went from Bring Me the Horizon to Whitney Houston, which is quite a jump, even for Spotify. I think it's fair to say, growing up in the 90s, I was heavily into my Britpop. And that probably forms the backbone of everything. But, I listen to classical. I listen to metal. I listen to country. I've got a little bit of Backstreet Boys in there, because who hasn't? I don't think I could ever say that I'm only into one genre of music. As someone who's gigged around the country with a guitar and now spends my free time on stages singing at people, I'm kind of into all of it. It's just, it's important. I think that if you pigeonhole yourself, you're missing out.
Yep. Good answers. We're going to take a detour via a guest. So I reckon, Steve, genres of music?
I listen to a lot of 90s stuff, primarily. I'm a very big Shed 7 fan. Shed 7, Pulp, all that. But I do also listen to a lot of electronica as well. So ranging from The Orb, Prodigy, all that kind of stuff, to my favourite band, which is one called Hybrid. I pretty much listen to them 50% of the time, and have done since early 2000s. What else? Just whatever. Today I was listening to the Shaman Boss Drum album. Still a really good album, I think. Yeah,
that's a whole musical era spanning from what, 92 to 95.
Yeah, it's great. It's a brilliant album.
And that's it. No, I mean your entire musical taste.
Yeah. No. Hybrid is still releasing an album.
I love it all. 92, 3, 4, and 5.
5, yeah.
Everything else can fuck off.
96 was a bit shit.
But even if you ramp up to the late 90s, you've got the advent of nu metal and stuff, which had some interesting things going on. and we got the Deftones out of the 90s, but we also managed to got New Order out of the 90s at the same time. So, like, what we got out of the 90s was phenomenal. Like, in terms of running the gamut of styles.
I'm just going to say I didn't really start getting into music until 97 when I was 11. Just to put that out there.
Right, piss off, Kev. Just get out.
Shut up, Kev.
Steve's music is pre-Kev. Anything pre-Kev.
My first album that I ever bought, I bought 2 albums on the same day. I bought S Express's first album and Beatmasters. They were my first 2 albums that I bought on cassette. Yeah, cool. It was just I love electronic music.
Have you seen Ride touring?
Ride? No, yeah. I am going to see Manic Street Preachers and Suede at Leeds Millennium Park soon. Recently went to see Pulp at Sheffield Arena, and that was bloody awesome.
There'll definitely be some reverse Cowboy done there.
Yeah,
sure.
Well, I didn't see them.
I like how you told us to move on from that and just brought us straight back to it.
I can't help it.
It's one of my biggest regrets. I've never seen Suede.
I thought you'd never seen Reverse Cowboy.
Well, this will be the first time I get.
Rich pictures.
Yeah, this will be the first time I'm going to see Suede, and I think I've seen Shed 7 about 10 times now. Just keep getting better. He's just Rick Ritter, fucking awesome. Love the man. So if you ever want to see a gig, go see Shed 7. He's just turned 50 and his voice is still amazing. It's just beautiful. But that's it. Yeah, that's my music.
Okay, great. Okay, so Rich 1, when you're engaging in your Reverse Cowboy, what do you listen to?
Well, it's country and western, isn't it? It's
of course. Yeah.
I was a reverse cowboy and I found my own 2 boots.
I love that song. That's a Luke Combs song, I think that is. Yeah, no. So at the moment, it is actually. I've got into sort of the new waves of the of country music coming out. So Luke Combs, as to last night, sticking that on. It's a bit naff really because it's what my daughters are listening to. So I'm trying to sort of hook on what it is. Like
your daughters are into country.
Yes, it's a new thing.
Is that the thing for the kids now?
It is a thing for the kids, yeah.
Jesus Christ!
I think it is down there. It's not. It's certainly not up here.
No, it's not.
Well,
it's in Wales. It's the thing for the kids.
It's a new thing. Yeah, exactly. So that, and then I probably. Oh God, what else do I put on? My default's back to Steve-O places. It's nice, this 1990s stuff, but yeah. I'm gonna say at the moment it's good country songs. Anything about drinking whiskey.
Okay, Rich 2, what have you got for us?
Metal.
Right. Yes, all the way. Pretty much.
Just metal.
It goes back to maybe our 80s rock, excluding obvious reasons, hair metal. But I'd say let's start off with AC/DC. Let's go through Iron Maiden, Megadeth, Linkin Park, Limp Bizkit, Slipknot, and Shikari, Pendulum. That's pretty much. There's a German band called KMFDM, which I don't think many people have heard of, but I like that stuff as well.
Are they anything like what's that? The other German heavy Rammstein. Are they anything like Rammstein?
No, but Rammstein's the next one on my list. They're more. Right. KMFDM are probably more towards somebody like Enter Shikari or Linkin Park than they are towards heavier rock or metal.
My 10-year-old son is very heavy into Rammstein, and I have no idea where it's come from.
Jesus!
So it's very disturbing in the middle of the trying to get to sleep. He has to have some music on, and all we can hear is someone shouting "Deutschland, Deutschland" through the wall.
I mean, if you liked those two, there's two other bands. There's one called Icebreaker and Megahertz. They're two similar.
I'm trying to
German
discourage him from it.
Yeah,
Right.
recommend them just to get a change of pace.
I feel like Megahertz goes straight back to Reverse Cowboy.
Yeah.
Well, they do a cover of Rock Me Amadeus, which you could play if you were doing that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Of course.
Well, get him a
Cowboy, get
voodoo
a
hat,
room.
get him a voodoo hat and some replica guns then, Steve, and then he can go and then Rich can mentor him.
He's got a cupboard full of Nerf guns. It's like John Wick in his room. You open the cupboard up and I've put them all on. I've actually got them all racked on on his thing. So he opens it up and he's got like grenade launcher and all these other things. And I've got him the Halo rifle as well. So
You've seen the Nerf nuke.
Oh, I have. I would love to get it, but I don't think the cats would survive it in this house. I was tempted to get the Galahorn as well, but yeah, that sold out before I even got it. And I'm still trying to hunt down the Nerf alien rifle. But yeah,
Pulse rifle. Wow.
Yeah, you can get the pulse rifle with all the sounds and everything. Yeah, it's.
I've got a drum-fed automatic shotgun that's a Nerf gun.
Oh, I was hoping you'd have a drum-fed automatic shotgun natively, because I could borrow that for some of the people on my estate.
And moving back on, Matt, music tastes, music genres.
I think there's probably a lot of crossover going on, being a bit of a sort of an 80s and 90s kid. So there's a lot of indie music, a lot of the Starbridge scene going on in my upbringing. So you had the Wonder stuff and Pop Elite itself. Ned's Atomic Dustbin. You had a lot of Bleeded from the Levelers, Mega 64. But I mean, like my first single on cassette was Suede's Animal Nitrate. Never saw them live. Did see a lot of live music. Last band I saw live, was the Beach Boys, and it was fucking amazing. It was absolutely incredible. Like some of the gigs I've been to and enjoyed the most are the more seasoned acts. So I know I was supposed to go and see the Lightning Seeds, and I couldn't make it. And I think, which one did I sell you my ticket? Was it the Lightning Seeds?
No, I didn't go to the Lightning Seeds. No, did you?
What, am I imagining it?
Who have you sold that
James?
ticket to?
Was it James?
I've been to James. Yeah.
Right, I saw them live in their heyday.
These are the bands, like the Wonder stuff, when you go and see them, and there is literally a 5-year age range at the thing where there's no new, and there's no one older than ever is, and you just move through life together and see them. I mean, when the light came on at Wonder stuff, I was just horrified. I was standing next to someone I would have classified as my head teacher, but she was moshing in the pit. She was dressed like she had the big glasses on and sort of curly hair and a kind of sensible dress on. I was like, oh my God, turn the lights off again.
I had that at Faith No More. I managed to go and see Faith No More on their last tour. And I think I might have been the youngest man in the room, which was something.
Faith No More would have been a good gig.
It was fucking amazing. I always thought I'd never get to see them because they split up and then they got back together and did that album in 2014, and they toured it, and I saw them at the Roundhouse in Camden, and it was fucking amazing.
I mean, the Neds must only have an age range of about 18 months of people window when they were famous, right? That was it. They can't exist outside of that age range. I saw them at university when I was like in my 20s, and even then I was thinking they've got nothing new to give here. It was the same songs they were playing. I don't know if they've released anything new ever, have they?
I very much doubt it. But I go down rabbit holes. My latest rabbit hole has been that kind of pop punk, so a lot of Linkin Park and Limp Bizkit, My Chemical Romance. I've been going back into that because I remember I used to listen to Limp Bizkit. Yeah, I used to listen to Limp Bizkit when I would play Quake 3.
Yeah.
I'd do Quake Arena with Limp Bizkit on in the background, and that would hopefully keep me alive long enough.
Have you seen Kev's gone on to the hard stuff? He's on the whiskey now. Look, I saw Limp Bizkit randomly at a Citadel in Lille, which was one of the most surreal festivals I've ever been to, because it was Limp Bizkit, Linkin Park, Elbow, Coldplay. It was like French people couldn't make up their mind what they were listening to, so they just put everything on. Like, we're going to put everything in this festival. And I was working for Eurostar at the time, and I won tickets through a staff competition. And it was amazing to see like Elbow as the sun was setting over this big French citadel. Like, that was a moment. But you have to paraphrase that with Coldplay, which to these French people seemed to have been sex music.
Right. Could you imagine the green room? What was going on in the back? How like Coldplay just sat in the corner, scared about what these
Liam Gallagher's. It was Liam Gallagher's shit band after Oasis.
All out of the planet.
Like BDI were there as well. Liam Gallagher's shit post Oasis band.
Oh God.
Jimmy Eat World were there, which was amazing. And then there was like Aloe Black. Do you remember Aloe Black? That I Need a Dollar dude.
Yeah,
he only had one song.
Good. That album's a really good album.
But it was the most random lineup of a festival you could ever hope to see. Kasabian were there. Like it was literally like there was loads of great stuff, but it was all stuff you wouldn't put together.
Yeah. Perhaps they'd let the Spotify AI DJ choose it, because if you never use that, it's just the most random shit that it tries to push on you.
But on the other hand, if you advertise that and you get everybody who's coming to see each individual band, you probably sell a lot more tickets.
Probably get a lot more violence.
Well, that too. Okay. So for me and music, just quickly, I'm quite similar to Toby in that my I don't try and pin myself down too much. My shuffle the other day did hit from Hugh Laurie's jazz to Billie Eilish to the Libertines to all sorts of random stuff. So I try and keep my mind open on that one. So going on to next question, another one from Brian, asking about anime. I personally, not particularly. Does anybody have any strong opinions on anime?
I've never watched anime in my life.
Oh, I love
watched
it.
Anime.
Akira and Ghost in the Shell are two of my favourite films ever.
I concur with that, Steve. Those are the only two animes that I've ever watched.
It's the original. Right, there was It was the original VHS soundtrack version of Akira that they released in the early 90s, not the redone one when it came out on DVD, because they redid half the voices and it just didn't work. But
Right.
Ghost in
What do you mean? It didn't work over the weird dubbing from?
No,
it just
didn't work. The version, and it's completely different voices. It just did, very much into Studio Ghibli, very much into things like Paranoid Agent, the Gundam videos. Love them. I did. Yeah, but I prefer all the cyberpunky stuff, which is why I'm more into Ghost in the Shell, including the OVAs and the series as well. So they released 2 films, 2 series. No, they actually released 4 series, because there's 2 of the original. Then there was a prequel remake series, and now they've just released Ghost in the Shell 20 something or other. Sorry. Yeah, so I like him anime.
Yeah. I don't know if you can class D'Artagnan and the Three Musketeers as anime, is it?
No, but we have it in this household.
I think
My
you
wife
mean Muskehounds.
The Muskehounds,
is it? D'Artagnan and the Three Muskehounds. Yeah.
The wife bought it to introduce the kids to it. Although I will give her the benefit, she did buy the entire run of Thundercats as well on DVD. So, but the kids don't like it. I love it.
Do you know what I watched the other day on YouTube in its entirety? Galaxy High. That was fucking brilliant. No one remembers it clearly. I'm shocked.
It does ring a bell.
I'm shocked that this group can't have it. Also, I watched Masked Crusaders and Brave Star.
No, Brave Star.
Yeah. I found the both series of Alexi Sales stuff on YouTube the other day, which is a very niche 80s sketch show from the Fat Bastard comic Alexi Sale.
I mean,
who was in the Young Ones.
Could not be further away from anime if you tried. I mean, you've picked
we've gone.
No. I mean, I have watched some anime, and if you ask me, I would have to say Cowboy Bebop was my favourite.
You know what? I like the series on Netflix. The live action series of Cowboy Bebop is really good.
Yeah, which they canned immediately though. I thought it was quite good.
Yeah, they keep canning stuff on Netflix, like the Santa Clarita Diet. That was amazing, and they've just stopped making it.
Have you watched One Piece on Netflix?
No, not yet.
Oh, right, I love it. I'm trying to get the kids into it. Yeah, I think you'll enjoy One Piece as well. Give it a go.
Cool. It's on the list. Definitely on the list.
Brian also wants to know which game we've missed more, and I think this is going to be a fairly straightforward answer. Power World or Helldivers 2? The general consensus seems to be nah on both.
I think my answer to that is no, thank you. Please try again.
Yeah. I've looked nothing into Helldivers because my friends list is just full of Helldivers, and then everyone's trying to troll me onto it. I'm convinced everyone is just playing it and pretending to enjoy it just to get on my tits. I don't actually believe they're enjoying it as much as they are, but they keep telling me they are.
I think everyone in the world is just doing this for you.
I think so, yeah.
And there is the CEO mentality in a nutshell.
I'm a narcissist, man. That's exactly what everything is there.
This is how Reverse Cowboy happens. This is all for me!
Yeah.
Okay, so quite a bit more of a deep question here from Jace.
Having broken Matthew. I'm enjoying that he's dead.
So this is quite an interesting one. You're confronted with a gaming hater. You have one game and 1 hour to convert them. What game are you choosing and why? Toby looks like he's got an answer ready.
Can I stop? Can I get Steve to do my answer? Because I think he knows me well enough to just do the answer for me.
I have no fucking idea.
I spent a whole year's podcast talking about it.
What, Mass Effect?
Yeah, Mass Effect. Yeah, Mass Effect.
I don't think Mass Effect 2. You've got an hour. Like, the first hour of Mass Effect 2, I don't think is enough.
No, I think we proved that by my first hour, which was basically comic book choices for an hour, and then barely being able to shoot anything.
You couldn't work a biotics wheel. For someone who can, you'd have got a lot further.
Yeah, well, I don't think gaming haters are going to understand a biotics wheel, are they? For God's sake, I think the entry point for Mass Effect is too high, especially first hour. Proven won't work.
I think I picked Red Dead Redemption 2. Because you've got some good story at the start of that, and then the gameplay and stuff, it's quite immersive and atmospheric. Tells a good story right from the off, I think.
I actually think something like Firewatch, something that's got that sort of isn't traditional game, but has very much got that story that, you know, it sort of bridges that gap between watching a movie and playing a game, I think, and shows that a game can be something more than, you know, what they're expecting it to be. I think something along those lines would be a good choice.
But as a kind of devil's advocate for that, Kev, is that not showing them something that gaming currently isn't? Are we trying to convince them what gaming is or what gaming could be?
Gaming is still that if you look in the right places, in my opinion. The AAAs and everything are not, but those games still exist. Yeah.
I think you have to drive them in with something like hard and impactful and story driven, rather than what their presumptions will be about sprites jumping and doing platforms. So I think get them in the first hour of The Last of Us with that scene with his daughter.
Yeah.
No, that would make someone not want to do it again. That's heartbreaking.
Well, I mean, it depends on what you're looking for. Yeah.
Yeah, but something like that grabs their things, or any of the Uncharted games. I think
something that shows it off as an art form rather than what their preconceptions of gaming is. I think is the way to do it.
I think you'll struggle with something within an hour, though, for something like that.
Yes. Yeah.
I got an answer. I can split it into two, into 2.5 hours. Right, you can play Tetris for half an hour, and then you can play Pong with me for half an hour. If you can't, if you can work out in half an hour that Tetris is fun to challenge yourself and overcome a challenge and be rewarded and understand that you're getting better at something, that's great. You can enjoy games. And then we can play Pong for half an hour, and you're going to go, oh, okay, there's also an adversarial part of this as well, where I can be better than you, and you can be better than me. And if you can get into that, then yay, you can get into video games. You can get into games. I
can see that.
I don't know how to play games. I was like, no, let me teach you rock, paper, scissors. let's actually try and what is it? Let's just play. Spin the bottle. Come on, bitches.
I watched. Right. I'm jumping in again. I watched a video today about how Super Mario Brothers, the original one on the NES, was the jumping off point to everything for some people as an art form as opposed to just a technical piece of work. In that it was the first time that we started to try and invest into a specific character and go with them through their trials, as it were. Do we think that Mario Brothers fits into this hour-long piece? Like, you probably get to the first Bowser within an hour. Do you think that it's a bit too Route One?
I think if they are a hater of video games, I think things like that are what they're expected. So I just don't think they would change. So I think it has to be something that, like, oh my god, I didn't know games were like this. The room did Mario. This was like, this is what I know games to be, and I told you I don't like them. So why?
And you remember that
be trapped playing Pong with Matt?
Yeah, but that controller, that was always a barrier for entry, wasn't it? Which is why the Wii was so successful. I was going to put the Wii down, just like anything on the Wii. Like if you don't like, there's something not one's inherently wrong with you, but maybe we're not compatible. If like you don't enjoy like throwing a pretend bowling ball, what's wrong with you?
Yeah, I was going to say Wii Sports, an hour of Wii Sports with a group of friends. If you're not enjoying that, then you're not going to enjoy gaming at all, right? Like, yeah, no, that's a good argument.
Okay,
it sounds like we've covered that one off. So, Paul Poynton. I apologise if I'm screwing up names all over the place. Are there any particular games that you like watching others play? He says he's always in awe of those streamers that speedrun games. Is there anything that people enjoy? Like, do people consume streamer media and people playing games, or too busy playing them yourself? Rich, any thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, my daughter used to obsessively watch Minecraft videos, and then, I would join, and I would actually get quite into watching, even back in those early days, like, Dan TDM and stuff like that, whereas I would, she'd have them on the laptop, and I'd find myself watching, weirdly, that kind of stuff. But I don't like watching people smash the bejesus out of a game, because it just gives me anxiety, like watching people speed run stuff. It actually makes me think, it's ruined it for me now, because I can't actually do that. So I don't want to play it. So I will watch people play playthroughs of, Baldur's Gate, rather than go through it again. If there's something that I haven't seen in the game I played, and I'm just out because I'm not going to run another 60 hours through it, I will watch someone else do a walkthrough to watch the alternatives.
Yeah, I agree with that sentiment. I'm not going to play through something again to see an alternate ending, or maybe there's a side quest that I missed going through that's not particularly important, but you get a certain cutscene or something to see through with that. sometimes I will. I like some of the playthroughs they do when you see them using an alternative controller. I think I saw somebody doing a playthrough of one of the something like Uncharted or something like that. And if you remember, there was a peripheral ages ago which was a DJ deck, and the guy had got all the things mapped onto it, and he was playing something like Uncharted. So on the one side, he's got himself playing it, and he's running through it with this weird. I've seen playthroughs of things like Resident Evil where somebody's used a Guitar Hero guitar for those sort of. I suppose it's like novelty stuff that I'd like watching with those. I don't want something spoiling with a game. So in the same way, I suppose what Rich is talking about, I don't want to play through and I don't want to see a playthrough where I've missed something unless it's something that I know I've bypassed. You say a side quest or something like that. If it's just a case of you fuck this up and look at what you could have won kind of idea, then I'm not keen on that.
Toby, you were emphatically shaking your head when I was asking the question.
Yeah, I'm trying to not give a typically Toby answer, but the only answer I've got is abso-fucking-lutely not. I do not watch other people play computer games. What the fuck? No, I don't understand it. I've never got it. I've never...
Do you watch sports out of interest?
Yes, I do. Rich, number one, and I support the same football club, and we talk about it often. I watch a lot of football. I watch a lot of American football. I used to play in the British League for a while.
You don't see watching people play games and watching sports as a similar sort of...
So the reason I game, I think, this is where we get down to the intrinsics of it. Like, the reason I game is for escapism as much as anything. That's why I tend to enjoy more single-player narrative games as opposed to large group games and things like that. I do enjoy those too. Getting together with some people and overcoming an obstacle is a lot of fun. But the majority of my gaming takes place in an individual space, in usually a very cinematic space. There's a reason why things like Mass Effect feature so highly for me, in terms of the scope, story, and the overall epicness, I guess, of it. And watching someone else do that takes me out of it. Like, what's the point in watching someone else do something you could experience for yourself? I can't experience going and playing at the Emirates in front of 60,000 people. Can't do it. Ain't gonna happen.
Not
I can. Not at 42 with the stomach. But I can sit down at a game and work hard at it and achieve completion of that. And for me, that's the big difference. Is that, like, I don't want to see someone else do something I can do.
So you're not into your cuckold stuff then?
I'm definitely not. I have dick enough for that not to be an issue. But for me, it's very much like, this even goes into my hobbies and like my acting and stuff, where I've gone for a part and I've been offered another part in a show and I've said, no, thank you. I don't want to be in this and watch someone else do something I think I could do better.
It's pure jealousy and some sort of inadequacy complex.
Definitely. I've not got dick enough. That's the problem.
For stating you weren't going to give a very typical Toby answer, you've given an absolutely straight down the line Toby answer to that one.
I said I was trying not to. I'm not going to win at it. I was trying not to give a Toby answer.
So how do you feel about watching other people not giving Toby answers?
Well, I mean, I think that, as a rule, you guys could really pick up on your Toby answering, if I'm honest. But, I can't win them all.
Matt, any games that you particularly like watching, or do you consume streams and stuff like that?
Yes, I do. I do a lot. And I know the speedrun thing can be quite interesting. And I actually kind of, as long as it's a game I don't really mind spoiling, like I can watch someone do a Dark Souls game. And what I like about what they do is they've all sort of like as a community sort of worked out the most optimal way of doing things. Like they will open a bonfire and they will immediately reload the game because it's quicker than waiting for the bonfire animation to finish and then getting back into the game and porting somewhere else. So like seeing that discipline and communication of like finding new ways of just like finding a jumper that you can just somehow pull off. I find that just like kind of fun. And also when because you then see them sometimes live. Do you remember there was a really cool video of, I think it must have been a post Street Fighter 2 when blocking was a thing, not just blocking, but but there was that video of like that one person like blocking every single of the super of Chun-Li or something on his last slither of health, and then like came back with the perfect combination back at it, and the crowd like just lost their fucking minds. Like sometimes you've got these like captured moments of awesomeness you can go back to.
Awesome, yeah. The speedrun stuff, like
I want to fly to fancy just then.
The speedrun stuff. I always find the devs reacting to speedrun stuff to be really interesting. Like where they're like, we spent months designing this level and this guy just finished it in 30 seconds is quite an entertaining watch. Yeah. And Steve, anything that you?
No, I don't really watch gaming videos at all. There's a couple of channels I kind of keep in that I subscribe to that that do a lot of old retro FPS runs. But even then, I'm not watching it. I usually have it on in the background while I'm doing something else. It's just background noise. I tend to, and the only thing I really consume a lot of is a lot of Warhammer battle reports, because that's taken over my life a bit more than the gaming. So I'm watching a lot of stuff like that. And even then, half the time they're on in the background as noise while I'm painting. So, yeah, that's about it, really.
Fair enough. Okay, then. So moving on to the next question. We've been asked favorite flavor of crisps, and I'm going to bundle this in with what your beverages of choice when gaming. So food and drink when gaming. Do people do that, or is it when you're in the zone? Are you in the zone, or
no, man? Hula hoops all the way.
Hula hoops. Oh, barbecue, definitely. Yeah, good choice.
There's two things in my life that live in the crisp zone that I cannot do without at the moment. One is the jalapeno and cheddar Cheetos, which are absolutely insane. The other, Aldi have brought out, they tail end of last year, but they've been doing it a lot more this year, garlic bread flavour crisps. And those things will change your fucking life. Like, those are so good.
I don't actually know where my closest Aldi is. I'll have to look into
find it, get the garlic bread crisps. In terms of drink, when I'm not doing something where I can get smashed, it's Coke Zero. Otherwise, it's just a lot of beer.
I've recently found Hendo relish flavoured crisps in my supermarket.
Yeah. Did you ever hear of the Hendo relish beer?
No.
Northern Monk did a Hendo relish beer. It was brilliant.
Well, that's my current snack of choice. Henderson's relish flavoured crisps. And Pepsi Max mango.
Yeah, no, I've been into that.
That's for everyone out there, Henderson's relish is the more superior version of Worcestershire sauce.
I was about to say, most of the South don't know what Henderson's relish is.
Never heard of it, I'm afraid.
It's on my door. It's on my doorstep. It's Tesco's have a complete shelf of it, and we always have at least 3 bottles in the cupboard.
Yeah, no, it's great stuff.
Absolute joy in the food stuff.
Yep. It's made in Sheffield, so yeah.
It's cracking in a bolognese.
Yeah.
So I really like the Walker's baked crisps, like of all the different flavors. I think they actually give like a genuinely nicer flavor.
That's lesser crisp. Kev, me and you were getting on so well until now.
You have to remember, there's 2 other things, Matthew, you have to remember about Kev. One is that he's really young compared to the rest of us. 2 is that he's not actually bald. He chooses that.
Yeah, it's like showing quite a bit as well at the moment. So
The lifestyle choice.
yes. And drink wise, I've actually fallen into a marketing ploy, and I'm quite heavily into the Sneak energy drink at the moment, which was very much aimed at gamers. They've diverted from that marketing a little bit now, but I do enjoy that. So
next you'll be telling me you subscribe to Belle Delphine's OnlyFans.
No. I just bought some bathwater. That's what I make my Sneak with, you see.
Touche,
anyway.
Touche.
Okay, moving on from that. I think we're now into the bald joke section. So, if you likened your 4 bald heads to arse cheeks, which 2 of you would make the best set of butt cheeks and why?
I was thinking about this, and I think that me and Rich 1 have more similar shaped heads, so we'd make a good butt.
Yeah, I think mine would add a weird level of stubble to a butt cheek.
Yeah.
Which
I think that as gentlemen, us 2 would make a pretty twerkable butt. So that's my answer.
And then there was some suspense novel David Baldacci joke that I think we'll just move away from. So
yeah, good.
And that is the community questions. So yeah.
Cool.
Thank you. Hopefully, Jace is running out of ball jokes now.
It doesn't. He's not slowing down.
Not.
Let's be honest. So
okay.
You know Jace better than that.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the baldest, beardiest Year of Shame / possibly podcast ever. I bet there's a few bald and beardy podcasts, but not with 4.
Do we need to contact Guinness?
I think we might. Are we the baldest, beardiest podcast in Britain?
I might disqualify us, though.
If there was going to be some kind of a scandal on the red tops, that would be the headline.
All podcasts are not really bald, shocker. He also has a furry fetish
and loves reverse cowboy.
Only one person loves reverse cowboy, and that's the man.
I mean, I feel like reverse cowboy. It takes at least 2 people to love it, right? Like,
no, only one. The other one is not willing necessarily.
The other person wants it 200%.
With some strong cable ties, anything's possible.
Good. So it's the end of the questions. Thank you so much to everyone who keeps them coming in. It keeps us making this podcast not only 3/4 of an hour long, which is brilliant. Gives us something to talk about and sometimes something to just say fuck no about. It's really appreciate it. Keep them coming. So we're on to the vinegar strokes of the podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you, Steve and Matthew, for joining us.
Thank you.
All that's left. It's always a pleasure. All that's left is for everyone to say goodbye. Say goodbye, Matthew.
Goodbye. It's nice to be here as part of it feels like this is like the part of the Midlife Gamer extended universe over here on the Year of Shame.
The MLGEU.
Yeah, and there's going to be a multiverse somewhere where like season 6 will come bursting in.
We'll have to get together to overthrow the Apple algorithm.
I've got the firearms.
Say goodbye, Steve.
Goodbye. Thank you for having me. Good to see your face again.
Always, man. Say goodbye, Kev.
Goodbye.
Say goodbye, Rich number 2.
Goodbye, Rich number 2.
Say goodbye, Cowboy Rich.
Yeah. Goodbye, boys. Happy birthday, Toby. I'm coming round your
birthday, Toby.
First cowboy action. That's your birthday present. I'm outside now.
Mate, I've got a 15-week-old baby. I will take some reverse cowboy action all day long. So I will see you in the morning. Too much to unpack. All right. Thank you so much for listening. Please join us again next month. Now recording.
All right, sorry, I've got a really bad joke for you. So this isn't as bad as Toby's joke that probably didn't make the edit, but it's still a bad one.
Oh, that's great. Because he's got to put that joke into there somehow.
No, obviously he won't. But like we'll know.
We all know.
We'll know.
We all know.
And feel free to ask the questions for next month's episode. What was Toby's joke?
So let me see if I can get the cadence this right. The only thing wrong with breastfeeding mothers in public, they don't wink back.
That's not anywhere near as bad as mine.
When I was told that, I laughed, and then I kept finding further depths of humour to it.
I don't feel like that has further depth. It's one level, and you should admit it and be ashamed of it.
Oh Lord. Oh Lord. And that is how we do a blooper.